This is the SOC 1, SOC 2 report template. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Introduction to SOC reports. Why are we doing it? Okay, so you need to understand. I'll first make you understand. Okay, then we'll
Mm-hmm.
go through the slides and all. Uh, like I mentioned, you understood the concept right. I am paying my auditor, which is Shellman, for that particular report. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that report must mean something to me. That's why I'm paying $1 million, or maybe in total, uh, as Cisco, we are paying somewhere around $5 million to Shellman every year just for these reports. SOC 1, maybe for example, 10 SOC 1 reports and 10 SOC 2 reports. For 20 reports, we are paying somewhere around $5 million to Shellman. Uh, Natural question comes, why? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think that why are we paying so much money? So uh, this report, both of these reports, SOC 1 and SOC 2, these are basically for our customers. Whose customer?
Our customer.
R means who is
Mm-hmm.
R?
For Shulman, in your example.
No, Shellman is my auditor. Who am I?
Mm.
I am Cisco, right?
Yes.
Who are my customers? I mean, my customers would be Cisco's customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting my point. You need to understand this concept for life if you want to stay in GRC field. So get this concept right.
Mm-hmm.
This is very basic. So Shellman is my auditor. Shellman is issuing these reports, SOC 1 and SOC 2 reports to me. Who am I? I am Cisco. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shellman is coming, auditing everything, and then they give me the SOC 1 or SOC 2 report depending on my need. We do both. We do both SOC 1, both SOC 2 reports. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned, once I get the SOC 1, SOC 2 report from Shellman, I share that report with my customers. So, for example, you name a company, any company that comes to your mind.
Apple.
Apple. Apple is my customer. Okay, Apple is using services from Cisco. Have you used any application or anything that's made by Cisco? Any product?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, so Cisco WebEx is a very common product. It's a VPN tool. So for
Okay.
example, Apple is using Cisco WebEx. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
with me? Uh,
Yes.
so I will tell Shellman first, Apple will tell me I am Cisco. Okay. Whenever I say me, imagine me as Cisco. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, first thing Apple will tell me is that I am using your services, I am using your product, Cisco WebEx. How do I make sure that you guys have the right security, right frameworks, you have the controls embedded in your system so that my data, my system, my people, my environment is protected with me.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. So I got a request from Apple asking that, hey, what's your security posture? You need to tell me, right? Because how can I trust you if tomorrow Vanessa creates a product and she wants to sell it to Apple? Would Apple believe you? Would Apple have trust on you? No, right?
Mm.
But if Vanessa's company has a SOC 1 report, SOC 2 report for that product, Vanessa can prove that, hey, see my SOC 1 report, see my SOC 2 report. I have all the security configurations covered. I have most of the security controls at my in my product. You can trust me on that. And then
Mm-hmm.
you share that report with Apple. Apple would probably be convinced that, hey, the system looks good, it looks secure, it looks safe. We can uh, we can we can trust the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of that product. Okay, we are good to go with Vanessa's product. We are going to pay you money. So you
Mm-hmm.
understood one aspect of
Yeah.
it?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. And now as Cisco, I need to find an external auditor who would who would issue this particular report to me. So in this case, I am going to Shellman or KPMG or Deloitte or PwC or EY. You have heard these names, right? Deloitte, PwC,
Yes.
etc. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
these are all big four auditing companies. These are the ones who can issue a SOC 1, SOC 2 report. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the request came from Apple to gain Apple's trust. I went to an auditor. I told him that, hey, I have all the controls implemented in my organization, in my product. Why don't you come, audit, give me that report, and I'll share that report with Apple to gain business from them.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. This is the entire cycle, and that's why Shellman is charging me so high. Because let's say if they are issuing this report for $200 for me, uh, probably because of this report, I am generating in millions from Apple because Apple is
Mm-hmm.
going to buy my product at scale. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the entire concept of why we are doing this, why a SOC 1 or SOC 2 report is required. Tell me you understand everything. And if you did, uh, just reiterate whatever you understood.
I understand the difference between the SOC 1 and the SOC 2 reports with the example that you made of Apple and Cisco.
To be honest, I haven't told you about the differences of a SOC 1 and a SOC 2 report. I've just told you that these are two reports that we get. I haven't gotten into the differences of a SOC 1 and a SOC 2 report.
Well,
Yeah, tell me what else you understood.
I understand that before I sell a product with whatever company you have, like if I have a company, I have to verify the security posture, and these reports help with that.
Yeah, right. Yes. So this is the crux. Okay. To gain
Mm-hmm.
trust of my customers, these reports are my vehicles. These reports help me gain trust of my customers, and then they can only buy my product, buy my services, trust on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's read the slide. So SOC. This stands for System and Organization Controls. Make sense? System and organization. Just understand these two words.
Mm-hmm.
System, anything related to technology. Okay, security, monitoring, logging, encryption, access, change, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
organizational controls like background check from HR, controls like board of members on the in the company, controls like ethics and compliance. So these are organizational controls. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Reports are issued by CPAs, Certified Public Accountants. So KPMG, EY, Deloitte, PwC, Shellman, Frank Raymond, all these are CPA firms
Mm-hmm.
to assess internal controls. Whose internal controls?
My company's internal controls.
Yeah, yeah, right. In my case, Cisco's internal controls. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
A SOC 1 focuses on financial reporting controls. Okay. While
Mm-hmm.
a SOC 2 evaluates security, availability, process integrity, confidentiality, and privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so SOC 1 is more of a financial reporting control. So any application, for example, your SAP. SAP is an ERP tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
As an ERP tool, it has all the financial data and everything, right? So SOC 1 can be done for SAP with a focus on financial reporting controls on SAP. So I can do an SAP audit and I will focus on financial reporting controls in SAP. Okay, we'll come to what controls could be and all, but you understood SOC 1 is for financial reporting controls, and SOC
Yes.
2 is more on the security side, as you can read. Security, availability, confidentiality, privacy, and process integrity. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These reports help customers, regulators as well. I can share these with the regulators and stakeholders understand an organization's risk management. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
risk, it could be risk and compliance management as well. The reports are performed under AICPA standards. So AICPA is some association of certified public accountants, and they have created an standard. They have created a standard basis which we conduct these SOC 1, SOC 2 audits.
Mm-hmm.
All good?
Yes.
Now, key differences. Just, yeah. So, uh, wherever you see this pipe, before this is for SOC 1, after this is for SOC 2. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, SOC 1, financial reporting, we discussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
SOC 2, it's for security and operational controls. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
SOC 1. This is its another name is also SSAE 18, which is Statement on Standards for Attestation Engagements. You don't need to worry about these terminologies. So SSAE is mostly what they call a SOC 1 report in Europe. Okay,
Okay.
if you join a company in Europe, they will not say SOC 1, they'll say SSAE 18. Okay, and trust
Mm-hmm.
services criteria is something we refer SOC 2 as. So, the five things mentioned here: security, availability, process integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. These are the five trust service criterias that are there in a SOC 2 report. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and each criteria, these are the five criterias. Okay, so when I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing a SOC 2 report for Cisco, I can have security is by default. If you are going for a SOC 2 report, security criteria should be by default. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
from these remaining four criterias, you need to pick which one is applicable to your company slash to your product, depending on your product's nature or your company's business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Each criteria has its own set of controls. So, for example, security has somewhere around 80 controls, 90, 100 controls. Availability would have 20, 30 controls. Privacy would have 10, 15 controls. Confidentiality would have again 10, 15 controls. Integrity would have somewhere around 5, 10 controls. So, depending on your company's requirement and your company's business, we pick security is by default. Like I mentioned, you cannot, if you are going for a SOC 2 report, security criteria must be met. Okay, it cannot be that you are going for a SOC 2 report and that security criteria is not there. It cannot be. You need to have security, and from the remaining four, you can pick as many as you want. Make
Okay.
sense?
So the remaining four are optional.
Yes, the remaining four are optional. But to give more credit, I mean, availability. What is availability? We discussed this during one of the sessions. What do you think availability is?
Availability. I think I've heard this in my previous search, but it basically a system being able to keep running in the midst of a
Right. Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. So this is related to business continuity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make sure your systems are available? You create backups, you have disaster recovery plans, disaster response
Mm-hmm.
plans, etc. So pretty basic, right? Every company is doing that. So availability is also something that is very general in SOC 2 reports. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, privacy. if you are encrypting the data or not, you are purging the data as per the standards, what data you are storing, what data are you capturing. Privacy is also one of the very generic uh, trust service criteria that are there in a report. Okay. Process
Mm-hmm.
integrity is pretty rare because this relates to mostly companies that are into transaction. For example, you know a company called MasterCard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's into transactions, credit card transactions and everything. For MasterCard, process integrity would be very important. They would have to keep this particular, because process integrity makes sure that whatever transactions you are doing, it is protecting the integrity. Let's say if I am doing $100 transaction from my end, it should hit the other account with $100, not a cent less or a cent more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, process integrity is something we don't have at Cisco because we are not a payments company, but rest all criteria we do have. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, coming to users, who are the users of my report? SOC 1, external auditors, financial regulators, because this is a financial reporting control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And SOC 2, clients. My clients would be my customers, business partners, security teams, etc. Okay.
Yes.
And then there are report types. What are the types of reports? So a type 1 and a type 2 report. And again, for SOC 2 also, we have a type 1 and a type 2 report. Okay. So whenever
Yes.
you are going for an interview, make sure you read about SOC 1 type 1 report, SOC 1 type 2 report, SOC 2 type 1 report, SOC 2 type 2 report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
No. So what are the difference between the type one and type twos?
Coming to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see SOC 1 type 1 versus type 2 reports. Type 1 report, I'll just give you a brief, then we'll read through the slide. Type 1 report is point in time testing. For
Okay.
example, if I want to I want to, Cisco wants, I mean, this is pretty much for emergency reports. I mean, a customer is demanding a SOC 1 report right now. They want that, hey, share the SOC 1 report in a month with me. That then only I'll give you the business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when we have lesser time, we do a type 1 audit where it's point in time. So for example, today is 19th March, right?
Mm-hmm.
The auditors would come on 20th March and they would test the controls in my system, in my product on 20th March, and they will give the report basis their testing on 20th March. They will mention on the report that this is a type 1 report. We did the testing on 20th March, and as on that day, on 20th March, we can give the confirmation that all the controls were working fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So type
Yes.
1 is a point in time report. So they are telling that on that particular day, on that particular date, the systems in Cisco's product were working fine. I don't know whether they were working fine or not on 15th March. I don't know whether they will be working fine on 1st of April. But on 20th of March, they were working fine.
Mm-hmm.
And type 2 report is a report which covers a audit period. It covers a period of, if you see here, 6 to 12 months or sometimes even 15 months. So right now I'm doing a SOC 2 audit, a real SOC 2 audit in my org, which is for 15 months. So you get it right. This is for example, an entire year, because every audit has an audit period. So this would give my customer the confidence that the controls in my system on my products were working fine throughout the year. It's not that they were working fine on a single day. They were working fine for 12 months. What
Mm.
better they can ask for, right? Understood?
Yes, I hear. Yes.
Okay. So 15 months is the max that a SOC 2 report can go. That's why we have to do it every year.
Mm.
Getting my point?
So after 15 months, it's no longer invalid. It's no longer valid.
It's no longer valid.
Okay.
The My customer would come and ask me again for a SOC report. They'll tell me that, hey boss, your 15 months period is over. Now share your report again. Tell me what's happening with your company this year, whether the
Mm.
controls are working fine this year or not. Because uh, like we discussed throughout these sessions, the risk keeps on evolving, right? Company
Mhm.
security posture change, threat threat posture changes. So we need to keep evolving our controls. We need to keep evolving our policies. We need to keep testing it. If you remember, uh, I have been constantly telling you that continuous monitoring is a thing in compliance, right?
Mm.
Why? Because you need to be right every month. You need to make sure that all your controls, all your safeguards are working fine every month and not just on a particular day or a particular month. It needs to
Mhm.
be right every time. So a SOC 2 report is for that. Sorry, a type 2 report covers a period. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Key difference. Type 2 provides more assurance as it include a long-term evaluation of control performance. Make sense?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, example. A company obtaining a SOC 2 Type 2 demonstrate continuous compliance rather than just an initial setup.
Mhm.
Any question?
So an initial setup would be the type one.
Type 1.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, no, no. That was the question.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Now, sections of a SOC report. So the sections, there are four sections in a SOC report. I'll cover that. But four to five, sometime for a few reports, we have five sections as well. I'll come to that. Uh,
Mhm.
Actually, there are five only. I'll add that one more point. So the
Mhm.
fifth is management response. Okay. So these sections, these remain same for both SOC 1, SOC 2. Okay.
Mhm.
First is the management's assertion. So this is the statement by service uh, organization on control
Mhm.
design and effectiveness. Service organization would be the company that is getting audited. So in my case, who would be the service organization?
SOC Cisco.
Right. Yeah. So you get the point, right? Uh,
Yes.
this is the statement by Cisco on control design and effectiveness. We management assertion. We tell the auditor that hey, whatever data that I'm going to provide, I'm going to be honest with it. Okay.
Mhm.
I am going to share the right thing with you. I'm not going to hide anything from you.
Mm.
Okay. Section 2. This is independent auditor's opinion. So after the audit is complete, they are sharing that particular report, SOC 1, SOC 2. In section
Mhm.
2 of the report, they give a summary of the entire audit. Okay, summary of auditor's findings and conclusion. So if you just read the section 2 of a SOC report, you will get a fair idea whether you can trust on Cisco's product or not, because they will mention both the findings
Mhm.
and the conclusion in section 2.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Section 3 is system description. So this is details about the company system, processes, and control environments. Section 3
Mhm.
is which company. Details about company's systems, processes, and control. Which company? In my case,
Cisco.
yeah. So you're getting right. First section is for Cisco, which where Cisco is telling that hey, whatever data I'm going to share, I'm going to be true with it. I'm not going to
Mhm.
share anything fake with you. Second
Mhm.
section is shared by the auditor, where they tell, basis the audit, They tell their summary, they tell their conclusion and their findings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Section 3 is shared by us, that is Cisco. We share the section 3 with our auditors, where we tell them the details of our systems, our processes, and our control environment. So we tell them where our data is hosted, what processes we follow, what's the hiring process, what's the access provisioning process, what's the encryption process, what's the backup process, any control that you can think of, we mention that here in terms of a process.
Mm.
With me?
Yes.
Okay. And then comes section 4, which is control testing and results. So this is most important. Explanation of controls tests and performed control tests performed and the results. So this section is basically the testing that the auditor did on my system. They are going to share the entire report there. They will mention the control, they will mention the test step, and then they will mention the result of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the last part, section 5, is the management response. Basically, any finding, let's say when they tested in section 4, they identified that, we'll take the same example, that Vanessa can get access to production system without her manager's approval. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yes.
finding, right? It's not an ideal situation, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they will share, they have noted that as an exception, and in section 5, they will mention that exception, and they will ask the management. Who is the management here? Me, Cisco. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They will ask for a response from me that, hey, we found this finding there in your system. What's your response on that? How are you going to tackle it? So once a finding is there, if you remember our first session, for a finding, we develop a remediation plan, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we need to tell the auditors that, hey, in my section 5, I'll mention that we are going to create a new policy, we are going to implement a new control, which will say that a manager's approval is absolutely required. It cannot be skipped before getting access to production system. That's how we are going
Mm.
to fix the finding.
Mm-hmm.
Sections are clear?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Moving ahead. So key terminologies in a SOC report. User entity. I'll take the same example, okay? Shellman,
Mm-hmm.
Cisco, and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You
Yes.
remember, Apple
Yes.
was
Yes.
my customer, Shellman
Mm-hmm.
was my auditor.
Mm-hmm.
So, user entity is someone who is going to use my report. Whom do you
Mm-hmm.
think is going to use my report?
Uh, Showman.
No,
Oh,
Shellman
Apple.
is
Apple. Showman is
Shellman
the
is
auditor.
Shellman is issuing me the report, right? Why
Okay.
is it going to use my report? So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
right. Apple. Apple is my user entity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They will use my report. Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Second is control objective. So basically for every control that is there, first we define the control objective. Okay, what this control objective is going to cover. So goals that controls aim to achieve. This is mostly specific to SOC 1, where we mention what control objective are we going to cover through the controls mentioned below. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Uh, Moving ahead, trust services criteria, principal guiding SOC 2 report. I already discussed this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Five trust service criteria, out of which security is by default. Rest four you can pick, but it's the more you have, the better.
Okay.
Any question?
No.
Okay. And then complementary user entity controls, very important. If you
Mm-hmm.
can explain someone this particular term in your interview, believe me, you are selected. I mean, as a
Mm-hmm.
as a fresher, if you can explain someone what complementary entity controls are, you can give them a few examples, you are selected. Believe me,
Okay.
because
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand this. This they won't teach anywhere. This something this someone who can teach you is who is actively involved in this process. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
what do you understand by this term user entity? Right? Who is the user entity?
It's Apple.
Right. And complementary user entity controls. What do you make of this particular word now? Replace user entity with Apple, for example. What do you understand? Complementary Apple controls, right?
Mm. It's
Uh,
the controls that Apple must implement.
right. Absolutely right. So basically, in my SOC report, the sections that I have, 5 sections, okay,
Mm.
in section 3 description, where I am describing about my systems, my processes, my control environment, etc. I will also have a subsection here for CUECs, which are complementary user entity controls, where I'll mention that anyone who is referring to my report, in this case, who is referring my report?
Sorry, who's what?
Uh, in section 3 of my SOC 1 or SOC 2 report,
Mm-hmm.
I will have a subsection for user complementary user entity controls. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
I will mention that anyone who is who
Mm-hmm.
is reading my report or who is utilizing my report. So in this case, who is utilizing my
Apple.
report? Apple.
Apple's user letter.
Right. Yeah. So I will mention the complementary user entity controls in my section 3, where I will mention the controls that my user entity, I mean anyone who is using my report or using my services, they should implement at their end.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. To work
Mm-hmm.
to make my, I mean, I have implemented controls at my end. That is my section 4. You can read through it what controls I have implemented. But,
Mm-hmm.
but to make my system completely secure, there are certain things that I want Apple to also implement, because in conjunction we are making the security 100% kind of thing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like if I am totally secure and Apple is doing random things in my product, in my with my services, definitely we cannot achieve security. And if tomorrow something happens to you, don't come and blame me. That's why I'm mentioning that these are certain controls that you should also have in your system.
Mm-hmm.
Understood?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just give you an example. See what is written. Controls that the clients must implement for security.
Mm-hmm.
Understood?
Yes.
For example, I'll just give you a short example. Just imagine uh, Apple is using WebEx, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Cisco's WebEx.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there are users who log into WebEx every day. Which users? Apple users, right? Apple team.
Mm-hmm.
They log into Cisco WebEx every day and they do their stuff and then they go out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Vanessa works at Apple. She logs into WebEx, Cisco's WebEx every day, and she she does whatever she has to do. Okay. But some
Mm-hmm.
fine day, Vanessa leaves Apple. Okay.
Yes.
So Apple has removed you from their database, from their system, etc. But chances are that you could still have a separate ID and a separate login password for Cisco WebEx. Correct?
Yes.
So that's where CUECs come to picture, where I'll mention that you need to notify me of any user that I need to remove from my end. That's a control. That's a real control that we put to our clients that, hey, if you are logging into my system, someone leaves your company, notify me that Vanessa has left. How would I know? It's your company, right? You would be managing who comes in, who goes out. I don't know about it. I
Mm.
have enough people at my end to manage. So I don't
So
know
that would
about who.
be a detective slash corrective control.
This would be more of a preventive control
Okay.
because I am preventing someone unauthorized to log in, right? So if
Mm.
Vanessa has left Apple, she shouldn't be logging into Cisco WebEx anymore, correct?
Okay.
Using
Mm-hmm.
her Apple ID. So
Mm-hmm.
either they deactivate the Apple ID itself so that Vanessa cannot do anything, even if she wants to, or you let me know, I will deactivate Vanessa at my end as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you understood this.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, okay. And then sub-service organization. So third-party vendors supporting the main service provider. So sub-service organization in this case would be, for example, Cisco's data is hosted on Microsoft Azure. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So Microsoft Azure would be the sub-service organization in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Now read this sentence. Third party vendor. Who is the third party vendor?
Microsoft Azure.
Supporting the main service provider. Who is the main service provider?
Cisco.
Right. And why is it called supporting? Because all my systems are hosted on Azure. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I need support from Azure also.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
CUECs. I have kept a separate slide because this is a very important concept that gets asked into interviews a lot. You need
Okay.
to be prepared for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now read through it. Just read through it
Quietly.
as you wish.
So in this case, the user entity would be Apple.
Yeah,
So Apple must maintain for the
th-
service organization system. So the service organization would be Cisco.
correct.
Yeah.
And what does it say?
Underneath,
No, no,
or
in the
like if
same.
I say, so basically, it's controls that Apple must maintain for Cisco system to function effectively.
Right. So now you get the context, right? Why I'm saying that Apple needs to inform me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if Cisco WebEx, if Apple is facing some incident, some bugs there with my software, how would I know, right? You are facing it. You need to inform me about it.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Example, a cloud service provider may rely on clients to configure user access properly, like we discussed.
Mm.
Correct?
Yes.
For example, if all my data is on Azure, then definitely Azure doesn't know, right, whether Harsh needs access to Azure or not. It is the responsibility of Cisco to maintain that access. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're understanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. These controls are typically documented in the SOC report in section 3 to inform clients of their responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving ahead. Sub-service organization controls. So this was complementary user entity controls. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now we are coming to sub-service organization control. Who was the sub-service organization?
Microsoft Azure.
Why? Why I have categorized them as sub-service organization?
because they are supporting the main
How are they supporting? Sub-service organization, third-party vendors supporting the main service provider. Okay.
mm-hmm.
My data, where is it hosted?
Cisco's data
Yeah,
on Microsoft Azure in this case.
correct. So they are supporting my business,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So when I say sub-service organization controls, it means that the controls that I want Microsoft Azure to also have.
Oh,
They
okay,
are
okay,
not
okay.
they are not my customer. They are not my user entity. Don't confuse user entity with sub-service organization. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
got it. These are the controls that I want Azure to have
Mm-hmm.
to maintain my data because I am trusting Azure with my data, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely need to put some safeguards on my data.
Mm-hmm. So the CUEC uses the data and then the subservice has the same controls.
Not really different. Depends on what sort of business you are into. What sort of
Okay.
what sort of data is hosted at your service organization?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
A sub-service organization is a third-party vendor that supports the service provider. Service provider is me. Third party is Azure.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we approach two approaches to handling sub-service organizations in SOC reports? One is carve out method. Here we exclude the controls performed by sub-service organization. We don't really bother about the controls at Azure. Okay, this is the carve out method.
Mm-hmm.
And then the carve in method where we are bothered about what controls are there at my sub-service organization.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
let's say if we do a carve in report, we will have to work with Azure and all, very difficult, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Azure is already doing a SOC 1 report for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just ask for Azure SOC 1, SOC 2 report, and I can be assured that they have controls at their end. So it's a cycle. Every company, I mean, for Azure, I am the customer, right? So I will demand a SOC 1, SOC 2 report from Azure.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, qualified versus unqualified report. So this is pretty basic. Qualified report in this case is exactly opposite of what the word qualified means. In a SOC report, qualified means negative. I mean, there are findings in the report. You cannot trust this company's services or product.
Mm-hmm.
An unqualified report is my ideal report where it's fine. Everything is
Yes.
fine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now just read through it.
Okay.
Yeah. Ask me anything.
So for the part that says auditor is unable to form an opinion due to lack of information, why would the company call the auditor to begin with if they have a lack of information?
Yeah, generally they don't. It's just a point. So, uh,
Oh.
yeah, just in case, because there are times when you would have heard, I mean, I don't know whether since you are not in this space, but there are times when the auditor walks away from an audit. They tell that since my client, I mean, in our case, maybe Cisco, they will tell
Mm.
that Cisco is not providing me the data that I'm asking for. I cannot do this audit. I am not sure whether I'll publish the right report or not. So that's when the
Mm.
auditors just walk away and you'll have a very bad reputation in the market.
Mm-hmm. Also, it gets put out there.
Sorry,
So like, wait, how does the market find out that you didn't have a lack of information?
it comes on the news.
Oh,
Yeah, if a report, if let's say an auditor is not able to complete their audit, definitely they will show, I mean, they will call this out publicly that we are
oh.
walking off from this company. Yeah. Any questions?
And for the adverse report where the controls are not reliable, are there any consequences for that?
For adverse reports, significant is the controls are, yeah, I mean, no one is going to trust your product.
Okay.
Adverse report is pretty bad. A qualified one is better than adverse.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
I'll move ahead. Management's response in SOC report, I already told you what management response is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for any finding, we need to tell the auditor what went wrong, what we are going to fix it, and by when.
Mm-hmm.
Now just read through it.
Okay.
Moving ahead, real world example SOC 2. A cloud based HR software company undergoes a SOC 2 Type 2 audit. Controls tested would be, for example, security, we tested the multi factor authentication. Availability, we tested the uptime monitoring. Confidentiality, we tested the data encryption during transmission. Result, unqualified SOC 2 report, which is our ideal case, improving customer trust and compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
now I'll just touch upon a SOC 3 report. This, I mean, companies don't do it, but since it's there, it's a possibility that you can also do a SOC 3 report. I'm just going
Mm.
to cover it. SOC 3 is a general use report derived from SOC 2. So SOC 2 and SOC 1 are pretty specific. SOC 3 is SOC 3 is very general. You won't have all the controls in SOC 3, whatever you have in SOC 1 or a SOC 2. In SOC 3, you will
Mm.
just mention controls that are general in nature, not specific to a product or a service, and this is publicly available on a company's website.
Mm.
Okay, you can just search for example, Google SOC 3 report, you'll find it somewhere. And you
Mm-hmm.
can, if you read the controls, they are mostly entity level controls, which has nothing to do with the service or the product. Those are just there as generic controls that should be there in a company.
Mm-hmm.
If you see here, this is designed for public distribution, not for my user entities. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
Unlike SOC 2, it does not include detailed control testing, often used for marketing and transparency purposes to showcase compliance.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So this is more of like customer based.
See, for my paying customers, SOC 2, SOC 1. But this
Okay.
is, let's say, if someone is just visiting my page, they want to understand that whether what I'm doing, it's a pretty generic report in that sense. We don't do it.
Okay.
Very few companies in this industry do a SOC 3 report.
Mm.
But since I'm covering theory, it should be covered. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. I got it.
Okay. Now, conclusion, importance of SOC reports. SOC reports provide assurance over internal controls. They help companies build trust with customers and regulators. I hope you are just relating with every point.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding key concepts like CUEC, subservice organization controls, and report types is very essential.
Mm-hmm.
SOC compliance is a critical aspect of risk management for businesses handling sensitive data. Every data is sensitive today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.